Holy crap, and welcome back to Punch Drunk Nerd. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for another episode of Punch Drunk Nerd, the podcast for three, you guessed it, three boyos, three friends, three amigos, coming together finally in the middle of the week to talk about nerd shit. I am back, ladies and gentlemen, from San Diego Comic-Con. My name is Luis Gonzalez, and with me is...
Miguel Sanchez.
and Ed Bull.
And if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, you'll see Miguel is gone because his house, the power is just went away. So Miguel is podcasting in the dark, and I hope you're enjoying this podcast in the dark as well, because it's going to be a long one, because we're going to be covering the Multiverse Saga, all the new drops from Kevin Feige's Marvel Studios. And basically, you know, that's going to be our feature discussion. Typically, we have news of the week, a feature discussion covering like a movie or a show, and then what we're into. But this week, since so much news dropped, so many trailers dropped in San Diego Comic-Con, our feature discussion is going to be all these news drops. So sit back and relax, because we are going into the Multiverse Saga. Now, I wasn't able to go to the Marvel Hall H myself, but I did get some insight that I want to share with all of you. And Miguel and Ed, please interrupt me, because I could talk forever on all these topics. So I'm going to start off on just chronologically. That's what we're going to do. We're going to start from what's coming up soon, and then all the way up to what, 2024, 25? How far is this going? 2025. Now, the first thing that's coming is I Am Groot. We all know about this, right? Little baby Groot have his own TV show. It's 5 episodes, and it's coming out August 10th. They're all little shorts. And I'm guessing that they're going to be about 6 to 9 minutes long, and they've already been renewed for season 2. If you've seen the trailer, it's really cute. It's really fun. And we know that one of the episodes is going to be Groot taking a bath. So that's going to be fun. Next coming up is She-Hulk.
Hot.
Baby boys, we got that coming in August 17th. And you know what? The more I'm watching, the more I'm getting hyped for this show. I don't care that it looks, the VFX is, you know, the VFX and all these things. I'm excited to see this mostly because Jessica Gao, who's the head writer, she did writing for Rick and Morty, Silicon Valley, Robot Chicken, and... a lot of comedy people are in here. And if you saw the latest trailer, you got to see, what's it called? She-Hulk break the fourth wall. And that's going to be a common theme that's going to be happening throughout this show. Another big reveal that happened in the trailer is Daredevil. All right. We were all wondering it. We were all theorizing it. 2 lawyers coming toe to toe. Was it going to happen? And guess what? It is. And it will. And not only will Daredevil be back, but he is coming back in a yellow suit. Have you seen this? Have you guys seen this? It's going to be one of his original costumes. So I'm interested to see how this goes, because it seems like Marvel is really leaning into like this costume, like dedication.
Was the yellow suit in the trailer, Miguel?
It was very briefly at the end. He like hops into frame, and he's wearing the yellow and red suit. And they've been talking about putting him in that for a hot minute. So it's only, you know what I mean? It makes sense that with Marvel starting kind of like our soft reboot of this character, that we're going to see, you know, fun iterations of the costume. And I know that Marvel has kind of been lately doing these comic accurate suits. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These variations.
Leaning into it. Yeah.
So
kind of like Scarlet Witch and hers. And...
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, you know what? I'm not always here for super comic accurate representations of anything. I like the freedom to try new things, but at the same time, it looks kind of cool. So we'll see.
I feel like since X-Men, so many superheroes, I guess excluding Spider-Man, would
try to do something different.
Something different, but also very toned down. Because like comic book superhero costumes, you think are very campy.
Yeah.
I think the most like obvious example is Wolverine.
The yellow spandex
throughout the X-Men, the yellow spandex and the big pointy ears and stuff like that. But like in the movies, it was always kind of just like a black leather outfit, you know, or jeans and a tight shirt.
You know Marvel's going to be leaning into that once X-Men comes out. They're definitely going to put him in that yellow.
I fucking hope so, man.
They're just like, fuck it. We're leaning right into all these suits. I remember when they were doing Yondu for Guardians of the Galaxy, people were immediately complaining to James Gunn that he didn't have his mohawk, and he was just like, it looks ridiculous, and then they brought it back for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
They did it anyway.
They did it anyway. They did it. Another thing I'm super excited about after seeing it,
and it looked cool.
It looked cool. Another thing is the Hulk clap is back. All right. The last time we see Hulk do one of those big, claps was in The Incredible Hulk. Next thing is, now look, this thing I'm really excited for. I didn't know I was excited for it until I saw the trailer. Black Panther 2 Wakanda Forever, November 11th.
Oh.
I mean,
dude, we're gonna have to take turns on this one. Yeah, so we don't talk over each other. But I have so much to say about this.
Well, if you have so much to say, let me pass the baton to you, Mr. Edward.
Oh man, what an emotional event! I watched the panel video a couple of days after the fact, and man, you could tell everybody's heart was completely invested in this film.
Absolutely.
And the trailer, I've watched it a few times now, but every time I watch it, I cry. It really does hit all the right notes. It's very visually stunning, and not in a way that, honestly, and you guys are going to roll your eyes, I thought I was thinking Eternals imagery. They've got some very, some very stoic, quiet visuals of just more emotional heft to what we're seeing on the screen.
You can see some raw cinema beauty there, where it's not like we're being inundated with composited effects. It was just a lot of natural beauty that was happening, which was really great, and something to even compete with a movie like Avatar that's coming out. It's like those underwater scenes looked really cool.
No, exactly. The underwater scenes look very stunning, not just CGI. I mean, there's a birth scene underwater. I guess we're to assume that's with the Atlanteans, or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, overall, a beautifully put together trailer. It was very reassuring in that they're treating the passing of Chadwick Boseman in the best way that they see. And then that we're seeing these beloved characters too. Fucking Angela Bassett has those lines, powerful because of the context, but also just the way she delivers it too. Mm-hmm. So I'm very I was excited. I was cautiously optimistic for this movie, but now I'm just yes, and I do not want to see another trailer for this film.
Totally.
I'm so hyped for this movie. We talked about it a couple weeks ago when we saw Thor, how I walked in and I saw this poster for the movie and I kind of totally forgot that it was coming out this year. Yep. And I'm just so glad that it's only a few months away at this point, because that trailer was absolute hype. And I want to also comment on the fact that not only have I watched this trailer about 10 times since it's been released, but I did the same. I did the same for the first Black Panther trailer when it first released, 5+ however many years ago. You know what I mean? These trailers are some of the best of Marvel trailers. They present exactly what you want to see and hear without giving too much away. And I mean, totally. Ed was talking about being emotional. I mean, I was definitely caught off guard by this trailer. You know what I mean? The song choices, the fact that it blended from the Bob Marley song to the Kendrick Lamar song. And it tells the story without telling the story. You know what I mean? This has become my most anticipated movie. Can we talk about this for just a minute? Do we have predictions for this movie? Obviously the big question is who's going to be Black Panther? Do we have thoughts?
I mean, it's got to come down to only two, right? Letitia Wright or Lupita Nyong'o. It's my assumption. I don't think they're going to go with the guy. I think they're either going to go with the sister or the girlfriend. Even if they do it the original Black Panther set it up as to how they elect a king, I guess. And so I think maybe they're leading up to that. I'm leaning towards Cherie, but it might be misdirection. I don't know. But I think it's definitely down to those two. But again, to my point about not wanting to see another trailer, I think they do. I think it would be such a mistake to reveal that prior to the.
I will say
release.
I have read a couple of speculations, and I would say, Ed, you're totally right that Cherie is like one of the best choices. Lupita Nyong'o's character is definitely a really solid choice. If we're sticking with the I'm trying to say the right word here, the female, you know what I mean, Black Panther, Okoye is definitely in play. But one of the things I've read is that multiple people may take the mantle of Black Panther in this movie, including why am I blanking on his name? Jabari, the other tribe. M'Baku, yeah.
M'Baku, yeah.
So there's a potential for like multiple people to take this role. One thing I texted was I kind of think that it's possible that Chadwick Boseman may be Black Panther at the beginning of the movie. You know what I mean? Like that was my speculation when I saw the suit at the beginning. I was like, oh, this might be like the beginning of the film where we see like a tribute to him as Black Panther or something.
You're talking about that very end shot where you see just like the claw. I felt like that looked like a very.
It looks new. It looked like a slender person. Yes.
I mean, kind of, but it's definitely not M'Baku.
That. One, think about Chadwick, and I know this was most likely because of his health issues, but like think about Chadwick Boseman in Endgame. He was very slender as Black Panther.
Yeah,
but. Also, if you look at the poster for Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, I think the silhouette of the mask and everything does look very feminine. So I do think we're gonna land with a female Black Panther. And I think we've been talking about this basically since before the trailer, basically once we found out Chadwick Boseman passed. I mean, I think there's 3 solid female characters, just absolute bangers of choices. You know what I mean? That could become Black Panther. And I'm here for any one of them. I'm just ready to go along for the ride.
And also we saw a clip of Riri Williams, the future Ironheart person, when she's kind of making her suit similarly to Tony Stark in the cave. We see her there. I wanted to bring up 2 things before I pass the mic off to Ed here. In the Comic-Con, they had a big musical performance with drums and dancers kind of going through the alleyways. And Ryan Coogler had this one quote that I wanted to say. Chad is no longer with us physically, but his spirit and his passion, his genius and his pride and his culture and the impact he made on this industry will be felt forever. And it feels like his hand is on my shoulder right now. So that would seem like a very awesome moment that happened in Hall H that I just wanted to share. That happened.
I'll just wrap up with a quick thought just to say I'm stupid fucking excited for this movie. Let's go.
Black Panther 2 will end Phase 4 and Phase 5 will begin with Antman and the Wasp Quantumania. Antman and the Wasp did not hit my top 10 in the Marvel movies. But seeing this trailer, I saw one of the leaked trailers. Seeing this trailer and reading the script down, this is doing the opposite of what Thor is doing. Thor was really serious and now it's really silly. And Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, it started off really silly, but this trailer looks very serious and it seems like they're going through some shit. And in this trailer, we not only meet Kang and have this awesome line here where Scott says, I don't know who you are, but you made a big mistake. I'm an Avenger. And then Kang says to him, you're an Avenger? Have I killed you before? And then the title sequence comes in and goes there. We also see Bill Murray in there and MODOK. And people are speculating that the guy from Yellow Jacket, Yellow in the first Ant-Man, the Yellow Jacket character, that he will become MODOK in this thing. What? And seeing some images of like the very distorted images of MODOK that I saw, it seemed very much like a Yellow Jack design. But again, like we have to wait until we see the trailer, but that would be very rad, very cool. And it seems it's a lot more serious tone. And this is really going to shape a lot what's coming up in,
Are they implying
and I just want to say too, go for it.
Are they implying that Corey Stoll is going to come back and play MODOK?
I think that's what they're implying, that people have been speculating.
Dude. That's hot as shit, dude. I'm so hyped for that because like he was he's a pretty good actor. You know what I mean? And I liked him in the first Ant-Man movie, and I would totally love to see him like join the fray, the MCU fray again.
Yeah, I mean, I've been waiting. I mean, MODOK is the most cartoony and comic-y villain, and I've been waiting to see how they're going to make that move and transition. So it's great to have Corey Stoll back, if that's the case. Great to have MODOK. And yeah, I don't know. Did you guys? I shared it with you. Okay, one more thing. Sorry, one more thing before I pass the baton to Ed. Spider-Man and Doctor Strange came out. Okay, there was hella amount of spoilers on YouTube, right? I don't know for the life of me, but these trailers are being locked down tight to a vault. So it shows me that it is possible to shut down these spoilers, but when it comes out to these movies, they won't do it, which it blows my mind. You know what I mean? Out of 6,000 people who attended Hall H, we can only get one leaked trailer, and they keep coming down and down and down. I understand, obviously, like, they can't put it out there, but I am just so surprised that very few leaks came out, and two, that we're actually seeing the power of Disney and Marvel shutting these leaks down. And I don't know why they're not doing it for other movies, but whatever. That's all I got to say. Pass it to you, Ed.
I did not watch the trailer. I did read the transcript. I just couldn't do it.
What do you mean you could not do it?
Because the whole like pirate phone, it just like that's aggravating for me. So I'm already half deaf. Hearing just like these muffled voices over a crowd with not being able to see the picture, I was just like, fuck it. I'll see it when it comes out on the internet.
You're so
like
British.
on the internet. Like a well, but this one and what was the other one? The Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, I couldn't sit through.
The trailer.
No comment. Looking forward to it nonetheless. I am excited for Kang. The poster looked cool, and I will hand the baton over to you, Miguel.
Well, I thought the Ant-Man trailer speaking of the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer, of the two leaked ones I watched, the Ant-Man one was pretty tough. I had the most questions about. Thank God Luis was filling me in. I had no idea it was Bill Murray for a second, because as I was watching it, it was clear that the audience went fucking wild when Bill Murray came on screen and said his line, and I had no idea who it was. So it's exciting that, I mean, Bill Murray, of all people in the MCU, is like, okay, well, let's see what you're going to do. I'm sure it's going to be a laugh. To comment on what Luis was talking about, as going from like a silly tone to a serious tone, Ant-Man is definitely a character I could see needing that evolution, because if he's going to become like a leader of the Avengers, I'm not saying the leader, but like, you know, a mainstay Avenger, you got to give him a little bit of like heft, a weight to him, so that he feels as though he can kind of, you know what I mean, be an emotional point for these characters. Because it's like, when I think about Iron Man snapping the finger and dying, I was caught up. I cried. I can't imagine at this moment Paul Rudd doing something that I'm like, oh my God, Ant-Man.
I am Ant-Man.
Exactly. So if they're trying to kind of steer the character in a certain direction, it might be the best time to do that. And especially because they're using this as a point. Obviously, we've seen Kang and Loki, but to really make Kang a feature of this movie, it's like, okay, we have to give Ant-Man, you know, something solid to stand on. So I'm kind of looking forward to see where they go in this direction. I'm super caught off guard about this Corey Stoll news. I would love for him to come back as MODOK, just because I think like that's like against type hard, and I would love to see what he does with it. And the last little comment I want to say is, I think I read something about Ant-Man being a story about like lost time. And I think that was one of like the moments that choked me up the most in Endgame, was him seeing his daughter again after 5 years, even though he totally wasn't gone for that long in his perspective. But just the fact that they saw each other again after all this time, and the fact that I've already lost so much time with you as a child, and now I've lost all this other time. I'm curious to see how they go with that theme. I'm very looking forward to it. So Ant-Man, there you go.
Yeah, I'm really upset that they recast Cassie, because even though she was just in one scene in Endgame, I thought she stole the show, or like she stole that scene, and I forgot, like, holy shit, it was a great moment. She was just in one scene, and I was so looking forward to seeing her again in Ant-Man and Quantumania. But I guess that's how it goes sometimes. So yeah, that's a thing. Next thing coming out is Secret Invasion on Disney Plus. This is following the comic storyline of the Skrulls. The Skrulls from Captain Marvel. They kind of shapeshift. They come into the world and kind of take over. But obviously, we know the Skrulls as being kind of good. So maybe there's some bad Skrulls out there doing a thing. And so that's what Secret Invasion is about. It's going to involve Kobe Smulders as well as Samuel L. Jackson in this thing, because he already has a relationship with the Skrulls. They're saying it's dark, exciting thriller. You won't know who's a Skrull or not. We didn't get a trailer of this thing, but I did get an explanation of it. It starts with a dark forest, the portal of light. Fury lands and walks out of a spaceship. Maria Hill reads Fury the riot act for abandoning Earth. Fury says this is different, and then Rhodey and Fury meet. It's really unsure what's happening here, but we just know that the Skrulls are going to be involved. I think there was this was alluded to at the end of WandaVision as well, in one of the post-credit scenes or something like that. Moving on over unless you guys have something to say about Secret Invasion, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Here, there's another leaked trailer that came out. One of the big stuff that came out was we're getting Baby Rocket. We get to see a little bit of that. Obviously, they want to sell more merchandise, so who doesn't want to see Baby Rocket? We got images of Adam Warlock. He looks pretty good. I wasn't sure, but he looks great. And Cosmo the dog, a telepathic Soviet space dog, who drifted in the cosmos, and it mutated him to be telepathic. Wonderfully, it's being played by Maria Bakalova, who was in that Borat movie. As well as we're introducing a character, the High Evolutionary. Yeah. It's just he was actually in costume in Hall H, walking around being pretty spooky. And he is a person who kind of like, what does he do? He takes unevolved creatures and makes something better. This is what he said at the hall. Ooh. He said this: "Thank you for inspiring me with how awful you all are. The bile in the back of my throat is all the motivation I need to move forward and create a new species. I can't wait to dissect all of you and see what I can learn." It's played by the same guy in Peacemaker, Chukwudi Iwuji. And he looks really great. So it's also another thing. It's following Ant-Man being serious. This feels like a very serious movie. And I also want to say this one more quote about Sean Gunn, who plays as Rocket on Guardians of the Galaxy, James Gunn's brother. "The truth is that the most rewarding part has been working with my brother, but it expands over the course of 3 movies. It's not just about the joy of working with him, but the joy of working with these other people. We were legit choked up backstage watching that footage because we fucking care. It is the most beautiful thing to be able to work on something creatively where your colleagues are all on the same page. Let's make something beautiful that people will respond to. I love all of you guys, sincerely." James Gunn spoke out saying it was weird because it was exactly 10 years ago he flew out to pitch Guardians of the Galaxy while they were filming Iron Man 3. Ed, I'm guessing you didn't see this trailer, but Miguel, I'm guessing you saw this trailer.
I did see this trailer. We talked about it briefly. Not only when you think about Guardians of the Galaxy, you think about all the music that goes with it, and it's always this like fun, you know what I mean? Like throwback nostalgia trip of a soundtrack, but they chose to go with, and I might be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure it's a Death Cab for Cutie song. It's either Death Cab or whatever the other one
It's the Flaming Lips.
Oh shit. Okay. So thank you for correcting me. But I've heard that song a million times. I love that song.
It's the song. Do You Realize?
That's right.
Yeah.
And it really hit me. I mean, I literally got chills when I played that song for these characters. I mean, it was just when it said the line, like, "Do you realize that everyone you know or you love will die?" You know what I mean? It was just like, oh man, it's Guardians 3. It's clear that they're trying to do a finale moment for these characters, regardless of if the franchise is going to go on. And I'm just this is one that I'm like cautiously excited for. You know, I know there's been a lot of controversy with James Gunn, and then it took forever to come back and actually make this movie, but I am here for it. I think the characters post Endgame are in a really good spot. I think not only are they going to focus on the Chris Pratt and Star-Lord and Gamora story arc, but and I've talked about this a lot, I'm super interested in seeing where Nebula is going to go. Yeah. But it's pretty clear that Rocket is, of all three of these movies, this is going to be the movie that Rocket shines in. And I'm very curious to see how they handle his storyline, because he's had a lot of trauma throughout his life. And it would be interesting to see them actually explore that. So I'm looking forward to this, but I do understand what Ed's point. I am looking forward to seeing the actual trailer once it releases. So let's go.
Yeah, I wonder if the High Evolutionary, the guy who's kind of like takes unevolved creatures and does something better, if he's involved with Rocket as he like changes him in some weird way. Also, we talked about costumes and how Daredevil is going back to his iconic yellow suit, red and yellow suit. In this, we also saw Star-Lord wearing his blue kind of Star-Lord-y comic-y suit that he was wearing when he first came out as Star-Lord. So again, they're leaning towards more of this comic thing. I'm excited about it. I'm excited for Cosmo, especially being played by Maria Bakalova. I think it's going to be great. I fell in love with Cosmo playing Guardians of the Galaxy video game, so this is my jam. I'm going to spit through these ones real quick. So we have Echo, the character from Hawkeye. She's having her own show, summer 2023. Loki season 2, summer of 2023. The Marvels, July 28th, 2023. Ironheart, fall 2023. Blade, November 3rd, 2023. Agatha, Coven of Chaos, winter 2023, or 24 of January on Disney Plus. Daredevil, Born Again, spring 2024, Disney Plus, with I believe 18 episodes, which is crazy because that would be the longest Disney Plus Marvel series. 18. Yeah, that we've ever had. I mean, that is network numbers. ABC, NBC, CBS. These are those people pump out that many episodes. I'm surprised by how many that is.
That blew my mind. That was one of the first things that when he was like, Kevin Feige was like, for 18 episodes, and then he presented Daredevil, it was just like, we've bitched about Disney Plus being like 6 episodes. They should go to 9. And Disney heard that shit and they were like, well, we're going to do fucking 18. And you're like, oh, okay. that's maybe too many, but okay, let's go.
Captain America, New World Order, May 3rd, 2024, and Thunderbolts, July 28th, 2024. And then we go into phase 6, beginning with Fantastic Four, November 8th, 2024. And it's going to, and there was a bunch of dates in between, actually 8 dates in between, 2 for fall 2024, winter 2024, winter 2025, 2 for spring 2025, 2 for summer of 2025, and then it will end with 2 Avenger movies events, the Kang Dynasty, or for my Australian fans, the Kang Dynasty. And that's going to be directed by the Shang-Chi director, Destin Daniel Cretton, who directed Short Term 12, obviously Shang-Chi as well. And then we're going to wrap it up with Secret Wars. If you don't know what Secret Wars is about, it's about these incursions causing literally worlds to collapse. And in the comics, the Avengers try desperately to stop these worlds collapsing in on each other, doing things that aren't so good, and some things that might, I don't know, just not so good. So, but in the end, they fail, and Doctor Doom rebuilds it in his own image, creating a thing called Battle World. And, Secret Wars is a comic run that kind of covers all of that era when Doctor Doom has kind of recreated the world in this image. And the Fantastic Four have a huge part of that. So clearly, if they want to keep the Secret Wars, we might see a Doctor Doom coming into the mix. And incursions have already been talked about. The world's collapsing in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. And that's something that we were left at the end of the post-credit scene where they had to stop an incursion. So it is happening. And we didn't get info on these titles, but D23 is coming up. I did forget when that's actually happening this year, but it's another convention. It's like a Disney Expo. And Marvel will be doing their announcement as well. I think it's September 9th to the 11th. And they're expecting to release 8 more titles there as well, which, because after watching this, we're all like, hey, what about X-Men? We're all waiting for X-Men. And then another show that was mentioned earlier, Armor Wars, was never brought up in this past Hall H announcement, and we know that's happening as well. I wanted to go around and say, before I wanted us to give our guesses on what we think those titles are going to be, there's also these animated shows that were announced that were not slotted in Hall H as well. Number 1, X-Men 97. It's going to happen in fall 2023. It's happening after the X-Men animated series in the 90s, and they're actually already returning for season 2. So get ready for that. What If season 2 is going to be in 2023. And we saw a scene of Peggy and Natasha going against the Hydra Stomper and Steve Rogers. Not only that, but season 3 already sold as well. Spider-Man Freshman Year is aimed for 2024 with Charlie Cox as Daredevil. And it will have a lot of villains with Norman Osborn as his mentor. Finally, Marvel Zombies. It's not shying away from the gore, and no date has been announced. So we have a lot of titles that haven't been announced yet. I wanted to go around the table here, and Ed, if you wanted to give your guesses on what some titles Kevin Feige might announce at D23. There are 8 of them. So, I mean, you have to name all 8, but which ones do you think should be announced or might be announced, things like that?
So I mean, I feel like X-Men will ultimately be a given. Like, they're going to make a movie for X-Men. I don't think they're just going to do it. They've been hinting at mutants, so given the entirety of Phase 5, I think we'll get a few more hints along the way, and then boom, here's an X-Men movie. That Eternals 2, because I already want that to happen. They've already kind of announced it, and they've said Chloe Zhao is coming back. So bring that on. It would be great to see more of these characters that they are introducing. I feel like in the earlier stages of the MCU, every character got at least 3 movies before the big event Avengers film. Or, at least a couple of movies in. And since they're introducing so many new characters, it would be nice to, I guess, catch up with all of them. Like, I'm glad we're getting a Captain America movie. I saw some speculation that we might see yet another Doctor Strange film along the way. I'm still... I'd also be down for a Moon Knight movie, but I don't know about that one. I'm less confident about a Moon Knight movie. So Eternals, X-Men, definitely Shang-Chi. Yeah, I mean, that's where I'm feeling right now. I don't know. We're going into unmarked territory now, as far as I'm concerned, because I'm not as well versed in Marvel as you guys are. So yeah, thumbs up for the ones I know: X-Men and Eternals. Shang-Chi, sure. Let's get more of his character. And yeah, I would love to see a Moon Knight movie, because I want to see that character paired up with all these other characters. I think Oscar Isaacs would be so great bouncing off of all of these other characters. So those would probably be my top ones that I want to see. Whether I feel for sure that's what we will see, I don't know. I know Eternals didn't fare so well with a lot of people, but obviously it did with me, and obviously they left on a cliffhanger, and I don't think they're going to introduce Harry Styles for,
No reason.
No reason, exactly. So, fingers crossed.
So I I don't have like a lot of predictions as to what's to come. I think Luis, you mentioned a lot of shows that we're obviously going to see at some point, even though they haven't announced them yet. I do want to just touch on a couple of real quick things. We talked about the Shang-Chi director coming back to do the Avengers movies. One of the things I read when IGN posted it, I like to jump into the comments, and people were like, oh, because the IGN or Kevin Feige confirmed, that the Russo brothers are not coming back to direct either of these Avengers movies. And some people were like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, that's a shit take or whatever. But I remember the transition from obviously Joss Whedon to the Russo brothers and how much of an elevation there was in the overall MCU because of that. And I think taking new blood, new directors, or like, proven directors on franchises and then making them, take a look at Avengers and seeing what they can do with it. There's a lot of excitement there for me. You know what I mean? I liked Shang-Chi. Was it my favorite movie? No, but it was also the origin story. There's a lot of things to work with. And if these directors can come in and take the Avengers to a new level, even if you sit there and at the end of it, you go, well, it wasn't as good as Endgame. Okay, well, like Endgame was like, 10 years in the making. And if Marvel wants to try something new, I'm here for it. I love having something new to enjoy as opposed to, just the same old. If Joss Whedon had done all of the Avengers movies leading up to Endgame, you know what I mean? It would have been an entirely different experience. And so these new people coming in, I think is super exciting. I had another point I was going to say, yada, yada. Oh, Spider-Man. We talked about Spider-Man freshman year, the animated show. Kevin Feige did also say that Spider-Man and Daredevil as live action are going to take over like the street level superheroes. I'm really looking forward to that. I think most people at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, when he decided, you know what I mean? Like Peter Parker was like, I'm living on my own and I'm in the classic red and blue suit. It was like, okay, this is about to be Spider-Man, no longer like, Iron Boy or whatever. So if Spider-Man and Daredevil want to take over that like street level MCU, I'm absolutely here for it. So really all to say is I'm just super excited about what's to come. And I think we're at the point right now where if you feel some type of way negatively about the MCU, it's like we're in this like growth phase. We're about to see something new. Get excited.
Yeah, I'm echoing to pretty much what all you're saying. X-Men for sure. We've already been teased that with Miss Marvel, and I believe Namor is part mutant as well. We could see Storm potentially in Wakanda. Eternals 2, I think, yes, we probably need another one of those movies.
Thank you.
Moon Knight, I think we talked about Moon Knight. I would love to see him in a movie. And I think a perfect way to bring him in would be something called the Midnight Suns, where we would have Moon Knight, we would have Blade, we would have Doctor Strange. We could have all these like dark forces, like a mini like Dark Force Avengers kind of happening situation. I would love to see that. I think they're setting that up as well. Maybe I know they set up, what's it called? What's his name? The Black Knight, the one at the end of Eternals
with Kit Harington.
Kit Harington, yeah, his character. I don't know much about that character as well, but I imagine he
Black Knight with Kit Harington.
Black Knight, so he could be in the Midnight Suns as well, especially since Blade was talking to him at the end of that post-credit scene. But I think another one that I think would be really cool to have that people have been talking about is the Young Avengers. And we have so many people that could make the Young Avengers. Maybe they fuck up and then they need to join the big Avengers to save the world. Who knows? But, let me just list out a cast of people who could be in the Young Avengers. We have Yelena, the new Black Widow. We have Kate Bishop, the new Hawkeye. We have America Chavez from Doctor Strange. We have Wanda's kids, Wiccan and Speed, those two boys. Love from Love and Thunder. Ironheart, Riri Williams. Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel. And then Cassie in Quantumania. She is also a character in the comics who goes by a couple different names, Sting or Stature. And then in Young Avengers, there's actually a variant of Kang called Iron Lad. It's an odd name, but potentially if we're already doing variants of Kang, we could see a younger version of that, maybe in Young Avengers. And there's also a version of Loki when he's like a kid in the comics, which honestly, if they did Young Avengers, I think that they would do Kid Loki for sure. Actually, we see him, don't we, in Loki, and the
in Loki
TV show Loki.
1, yeah.
Yeah, so he could come back and be part of the Young Avengers thing. But yeah, I mean, that is everything that happened at Hall H. It is so much stuff. I will say that a lot of these things are things that we've kind of predicted or we've seen or we've heard of, that now it's either one, we know where their placement is in the saga, which is now being called the Multiverse Saga, which I think we called out in this podcast.
Hell yeah.
Earlier, but I don't think there was a lot of surprises to this. There wasn't a lot of surprises. But I think the one I'm hyped about is definitely like Black Panther. It just looked so good, the trailer, and I'm here for all of this.
Speaking of trailers,
Ed, we got all these trailers here. You want to run us down on some of these trailers? Pass the mic.
Okay, well, we already talked about Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, so we can skip past that before we start crying again. And, you know, for fear of sounding like we're a Marvel-only podcast, I know I've been talking about this show for quite some time, but The Rings of Power released a full-length trailer for the Comic-Con, and Miguel, you and I were talking about this last week for the previous trailer leading up to this trailer. But, man, it's like, I am more psyched for this show than any other show coming to TV in the near future. Like, I think we said last week, it just really is nailing the tone, specifically from, I'm getting like the Fellowship of the Ring vibes. Like, there's a nice mesh of practical and visual effects. We see so many big moments in this. I talked last week about us potentially seeing the birth of Sauron. That is exactly what we're going to be seeing. And we're seeing his various forms and his, I assume his rise to power. Because he is, in the lore of Middle-earth, he is a shapeshifter. I'm sorry. So he's like potential, like part of his history is that he was like a fallen angel, or he was an angel that was cast out from a certain race and landed in Middle Earth and rose to power through manipulation and violence and everything. Like, there are many forms of Sauron throughout the history of Middle Earth, but we are going to get that first look, and obviously there are a lot of shots throughout this trailer where you get like hints of the Sauron that we know from the original movie trilogy. Anyway, we get like some cool the trilogy. I'm gonna call it trilogies are called trillies now. And there's like this epic cavalry charge led by Galadriel that feels like the charge of a Rohirrim. So, like, as a Lord of the Rings fan, I'm, like, super pumped for this show. I can't wait. And then, of course, they end the trailer with a shot of the Balrog, which we all know was the demise of Moria, the Mines of Moria, which was, like, a great dwarf kingdom. And they dug too deeply and too greedily, and they awoke a Balrog in the depths of the mines. So we get to see a bit of that too. So I'm very excited for what this season might bring. And I mean, that was a cool trailer. Any thoughts on that before I move on?
Yeah, I mean, I have. Well, I wasn't able to talk about it last time, and I will say, out of everyone in the group here, I am not the biggest, I guess, Lord of the Rings fanatic. I love the movies. I just haven't seen them a lot. I have not seen the extended cuts. But after seeing this trailer, I'm here for it. You know, I'm excited to see this show. I'm ready to be part of the group. And with shows like The Witcher coming out, and obviously in the wake of Game of Thrones, I'm here for, kind of this fantasy. And we're going to talk about it later, but Dungeons and Dragons, there's a movie coming out with there. But after seeing this Rings of Power trailer, and I'm here for it. I don't really know much about it. It's so exciting to learn. I know it's like established IP, and like there's already a whole book about it with the Samaritan, right? But it's all new to me. The lore's new to me. So like when you were talking about the ending and you're like, of course, this thing happened and the crashing and all that stuff. I was like, wait, what? What? I have to go back and rewatch the trailer because I don't know what you're talking about. But I'm so excited to figure that out. And I'm excited to talk about it on this podcast.
Me too.
Get your insight on it. I'm here for it. That's
cool. So we already talked about She-Hulk, Attorney of Law, unless you guys want to talk more about that. But one big thing that happened at Comic-Con was they initially released the teaser poster for Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer, which looked very cool. It was Oppenheimer engulfed in flames, a silhouette of Oppenheimer in flames. And then apparently they released the teaser trailer, or showed the teaser trailer at Comic-Con. And we had seen, filmed versions of that from phones and stuff. But then, Luis, I don't know about you, but I went to go see Nope in the IMAX, and they played it right before Nope.
Yep.
And man, even just watching the pirated version, I'll just call it pirated for lack of a better word. We might have our, we might have our issues with Christopher Nolan, but man, the guy knows how to sell a movie, and that trailer, especially on the IMAX screen, definitely looked incredible. But I'll tell you this much, I was instantly reminded of why you don't go and see a Christopher Nolan movie in IMAX, because the sound is going to be fucking awful. It was so loud in that room. But all that to say, though, it's very very small and short. It just like a little bit of dialogue from various characters, and then some brief shots of Cillian Murphy, and then burst of flame, obviously, and then like a ticking, like a countdown. I assume it's going to take place the course of the movie, I guess.
Right.
But I'm very excited. Miguel, I don't know if you noticed, but this movie might mostly be in black and white.
Well, that's fucking disgusting. Okay. No, that's cool. If Christopher Nolan, he did that with Memento, right? Or he had at least had scenes that were in black and white in that movie. So you know what I mean? I'm here for it. I know, Ed, you were mentioning like we can complain about Christopher Nolan, you know what I mean, like faults here and there.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. Like, this is, of anyone who's making like a atomic bomb movie, you're like, yeah, let's see what Christopher Nolan has to do with it, So I'm excited for this movie. It's a great cast. I did see the pirated trailer. I haven't seen Nope yet, but I'm looking forward to seeing this trailer on the big screen. So let's go.
Yeah, I saw the trailer at the opening of IMAX of Nope, and you're right. Like it's a black and white thing, similar to what he's done. Obviously, Memento. He also did it for his first film, The Following. But at the same time, I think it was okay. I want to see more. To be honest, I'm a person who like only wants to see a little bit. After seeing this trailer, I want to see a little bit more to get excited.
Oh, God.
But that's me. There we go. Pass it on.
All right. So moving on. They also released a John Wick 4 trailer for the Comic-Con.
Pass.
And Miguel says pass, and I get it. It looks
dope.
Fine. It looks like a John Wick.
Yep.
Well, it looks like a John Wick movie. You know what I mean? It's like there's the grabbing of the gun, there's the rolling.
Well, John Wick is a new property.
But there is a certain. I don't know. Like, I thought John Wick 2 was very repetitive. John Wick 3 was an improvement. But I don't know. You know what you're getting into with a John Wick movie. So, like, they could literally just show us that trailer and people are going to come see it. I'm not mad at that. I enjoy all of the John Wick movies to some extent.
I'm surprised Miguel is Miguel is saying pass on this. You know what I mean? I'm excited. I like John Wick. I love seeing these movies.
To me, it's lost a little bit of its like luster. You know what I mean? It's like it feels repetitive as a franchise. You know what I mean? It's like, although I'm over here saying that, but I fucking love Fast and Furious movies. So you know what I mean? Don't take me seriously when I talk shit about anything. I clearly love shit movies. So,
I mean, this is about a man who went on a bloodthirsty rampage because a Russian guy killed his dog.
I mean, yeah, you got me hard. You got me hard just thinking about it.
All right. Well, then moving on, Luis, I think you briefly mentioned Dungeons and Dragons earlier. They released a trailer for this movie, which is definitely leaning on like the comedy action adventure mix, similar to that of The Princess Bride, or so they say. It's got Chris Pine, other people. Michelle Rodriguez, Hugh Grant. I'm blanking on some of the others. I don't have it written down.
Jean Paul or whatever.
Oh yeah, and he was just in The Grey Man. So
your favorite movie?
He might be our next James Bond. Yeah, I thought this looked fine. I definitely got like almost like Thor Ragnarok, like Taika Waititi vibes, as if, you know, they were kind of banking on the same kind of like humor, but with Dungeons and Dragons, I guess. Very tongue-in-cheek, almost. Anybody, any thoughts there?
I have more thoughts on several trailers down the line, so I'd rather talk about those.
Okay. Sure, I don't have strong feelings about that. You're talking about not having strong feelings. The next trailer we're talking about is Shazam. I never saw the first one, so I'm going to leave this to you guys. I did watch the trailer, but I don't really have any thoughts about it.
You've never seen the first one? It's kind of fun.
Well, that's what everybody says. It's like, oh yeah, it was kind of fun. It's like, great. Well, that's a great fucking incentive to watch a movie.
I have seen Shazam. I thought the first one was pretty good. I mean, it was a surprising like DC hit. You know what I mean? Especially when they were figuring out what they were doing. And it's one of the more interesting characters. Am I super excited for this movie? I don't know. I'm a little more excited about, and I can't believe I'm saying this, Black Adam.
Whoa, really?
He's in the same world. Yeah, I'd rather see, because he's something different, and I can see what he's going to do.
Right.
I'd like to see what he's going to do. Excuse me, but yeah, I don't know. Shazam. We'll see.
Quick question: Are they supposed to face off eventually? Is that the idea? Shazam?
Yes.
I don't know. I assume.
One thing. Okay, I don't know. Miguel, you saw Billy Baxton, the kid version of Shazam. I feel like the adult version and the kid version are very two different versions, where I feel like the kid version's a lot cooler and smoother, and then when he becomes adult version, he's a lot sillier. And so there is a disconnect that I have with that movie sometimes.
100%.
Also, there is a joke in this trailer that was literally copied off of Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Yes.
Where like he's kind of like in therapy and he's talking about how he's like, hey, I'm a pediatrician. Look at all these kid toys. And I was like, that's straight up from Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
That's right.
And I just, yeah.
All right, well then moving swiftly on to some other trailers that were outside of Comic-Con. One released last week is called Breaking, a movie that I wasn't aware of going into this trailer, starring John Boyega and Michael K. Williams in what I assume is like one of his last roles. Honestly, I thought the trailer for this looked rather compelling. John Boyega plays like a veteran of sorts who is holding a bank hostage, I guess, and Michael K. Williams plays the hostage negotiator or whatever. But anyway, when I was watching this, Miguel, I was thinking of that movie that I haven't seen, but John Q. And I thought, like, damn, John Boyega's like giving up some serious Denzel Washington vibes.
Denzel vibes. You're saying literally everything I wanted to say, Ed. Okay,
all right,
so we're hyped about this right now. Dude,
Good.
Bro, I'm sorry, you guys. I'm sorry, my phone is about to die, so let me just get out my thoughts just real quick, okay? 100%, Ed. Yes, I knew one of you guys hadn't seen John Q, and I'm sad that it's you.
I'll watch it. I'll watch it for you.
But this is, and it's on Netflix. This is definitely like John Boyega's moment to do something like that. You know what I mean? John Boyega is having a good year. He's got the Woman King.
Yes.
Is that the right?
Yes.
The right title, coming out this year as well. I think he might have a third project coming out that he had alluded to, but it's like John Boyega getting away from Star Wars. Let's see you do something pretty serious. And yes, this is if it gives a little bit of John Q vibes or Denzel vibes, it's like, okay, maybe this is the moment where he's stepping away from Star Wars and it's just showing you I can do more than that. And if it feels like a repetitive thing or something that's derivative or anything like that, I don't give a fuck. Like, let's see what he does with this moment. I was very pulled into the trailer, and I'm so glad you mentioned the John Q vibes.
Cool. I'm glad I nailed that. Luis, similar feelings?
Yeah, absolutely. I was like freaking out over here because that was the one thing I wanted to say was that John Q, Denzel Washington, totally is what the vibes that we're getting from. Yes. And yeah, man, I'm excited to see it. So
cool. Yeah. No, I mean, to your point, Miguel, like, I feel like we've all been yearning for John Boyega to start getting some recognition outside of Star Wars. He was in Steve McQueen's Small Axe series in Red, White, and Blue, which I would implore anybody to go check out. It's free on Amazon Prime. It's basically a short film. I think it's less than an hour, and he's incredible in that too. So we're about to see like the next phase of John Boyega. It's not even a renaissance. He's just like, he's moving on. He's maturing as an actor. He's ready to tackle these like heavier movies. So I'm very excited. Moving on, today they released the trailer for Netflix's Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
Ed, baby.
Ooh. I am so excited for this film. I think it looks so stunning. The animation looks incredible. I hope it gets some sort of like theatrical release to where, you know, it could be an Oscar contention. But and given that it's Guillermo del Toro, they might give that little push to it. But as far as this trailer goes, I mean, I thought it looked stunning, and I'm excited for it. Any thoughts on that?
I'm excited to see it. The animation looks great. I love the take that they're doing with it, and I'm here for it. I hope it gets a theater screening too, because I think getting those small details of the stop animation on the big screen would be really cool to see.
I have two just really quick points. First, Ed, I know I give you a lot of shit about certain Guillermo del Toro movies. Okay, I know we've had a little bit of a back and forth privately about these. But I watched this trailer tonight, and I have to say, I am super looking forward to this.
Nice.
It just, it absolutely feels like the right vibe for Guillermo del Toro, but also it seems like a really wonderful cast, and the animation looks superb. I'm absolutely here for it. The second point I want to make is I can't believe, I just have to accept this at this point, that Hollywood will not stop making like the same movie with different productions back to back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're seeing the Disney Pinocchio for obvious reasons with Tom Hanks. I will say previously I was excited to see that movie, and I still kind of am, because I like the fact that my boy can watch these movies and get the Disney love, you know what I mean, that I had when I watched those movies when I was a kid. But this one seems so much more exciting and interesting. The fact that it's totally different, the animation looks totally different. I'm here for it. But to the fact that I'm saying, it's just like, think about Armageddon and Deep Impact. You know what I mean? Like, we've been making these types of movies, you know what I mean, for years now.
A Bug's Life and Ants.
Absolutely. And it's like, Hollywood will not stop. We will always have these two movies pitted against each other that are basically the same story. So,
two Jungle Books a couple of years ago. From same studios, Disney and Netflix. Yep. So
And Netflix said we're doing that shit. So whatever, I'm here for it. This is actually, Ed, I know I'm giving you a lot of shit about seeing movies in theaters that are coming to Netflix, but this is kind of one of those movies that I would see in the theaters, dude.
Yeah.
Ed, I'm like,
giving you that fantastic Mr. Fox vibes, huh?
Oh yeah, bro, you know it's a good one if Miguel fucking goes and sees it.
You know, studios should start paying me every time Miguel goes to a theater. They're just like, well done, Ed, you beat him down. So these next 3 trailers, I really have no comment on because I didn't watch any of them and they don't interest me.
I dropped these 3 trailers in. Listen, I've been rewatching some Rocky movies. I love me Sylvester Stallone. I don't know why. I have a soft spot for him in my heart. So when I saw him doing this Prime Video movie that's coming out August 26th, it's basically like Old Man Logan, but you know his superhero's name is Samaritan. He's been in hiding, and then he sees the little kid getting beat up, and then he saves him. And when you watch the trailer, I had no idea this was a superhero movie. He just like whips these kids beating up this other kid into another car, and I was like, holy shit, was that on purpose? And then as the trailer unfolds, we learn he is a superhero who's kind of retired. And this little boy is like, hey, man, you should be a superhero again. He's like, no, I'm not doing that no more. I love Sylvester Stallone, and I want to see more of it.
Okay, so very briefly, just want to talk on the kid that you were mentioning. He is from Euphoria. He was the drug dealer's like half step brother or whatever in that show, and really good moment for Euphoria. We're talking about Samaritan. You mentioned the Old Man Logan storyline. Before they showed Sylvester Stallone like as a literal superhero previously in a superhero costume, for a half second, I thought Bezos bought the rights to Shyamalan's Unbreakable. I thought this was a sequel to Unbreakable, and he was playing Bruce Willis's character from that movie. And then they threw him in a superhero costume. I said, oh, okay, it's a different property. But as we talked about Bruce Willis last week briefly, this would have been a really cool moment for me to see that kind of character pushed forward and seen just a little bit more of him. Unbreakable is, I wouldn't say it's one of my favorite movies, but it's one of my favorite Shyamalan movies. So I was kind of looking forward to that connection. But the fact that it's different, it's like, okay, I'm still here for it. And the fact that it's going to be on Prime, I'm ready to go. I do briefly want to talk about The Walking Dead and this Forrest Gump movie, so I'm going to just move on. So, Luis, feel free to take it away.
Yeah, here we go. We got Walking Dead, a show that started when we were babies. It's still going on. It's got a bunch of spin-offs, 5 total. This one caught my eye. It's The Tales of the Walking Dead. It's an anthology, 6 episodes, has Terry Crews, Parker Posey, Olivia Munn, Jesse Usher, who's A-Train in The Boys, Jillian Bell, who's from Workaholics, Danny Ramirez, who's from Top Gun Maverick, and The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It looks very cool, and they have other spin-offs. Isle of the Dead with Maggie and Negan. They go to Manhattan, and humans have to live above the 10th floor to survive. There's a Michonne and Rick spin-off, and then there's supposedly a Daryl spin-off that hasn't been fully announced. I'm talking really fast because I want to hear Miguel's thoughts.
So, as far as Tales of the Walking Dead goes, I haven't been watching Walking Dead in a long time because it's so hard to keep up with that story. It's like you miss a season and you're lost. I love the fact this is an anthology show and we're going to see different episodes, different characters each episode dealing in this world of Walking Dead. When you think about The Walking Dead having all these spin-offs, this is probably the most interesting way to do it. As far as the Negan and why am I blanking on her name? Maggie spinoff. I was not excited about this at all until I read this note where it was like living above the 10th floor in New York. And it kind of gave me, Tom Hiddleston did that movie where they lived in the high rise or whatever. It was giving me like that kind of vibes. So it's like, okay, let's see what Walking Dead does with that. But as far as Tales of the Walking Dead, that's definitely one of the ones I'm most interested in. The Daryl spinoff, it's been talked about. It was originally going to be a Daryl and Carol spinoff, but the little bit of controversy is what's his name that plays Daryl? Him and his family live in Europe, and he wanted to move the production to Europe. And Carol, the actress that plays Carol, didn't want to go to Europe to film this show, and she parted ways with the production. So I don't know about how all these spinoffs are going to go. It feels kind of like the Game of Thrones treatment where they're just throwing something at the wall and seeing what sticks. But it's a couple of good premises. As far as Tales of Walking Dead, that's the one I'm here for. And very briefly, I'm super sorry my phone is about to die. I do want to talk about this last trailer. So I just heard about this tonight, where they're doing a Forrest Gump remake in an Indian modern history and culture telling. It's called I'm going to try to say this. Please forgive me if I'm wrong. The Laal Singh Chaadha. I watched this trailer, and you guys, I fucking love Forrest Gump. I've seen that movie a million times. I mean, I see it at least 3 times a year because it's just something we throw on pretty regularly. This is one of those movies where I would absolutely go see it in theaters and not read a single subtitle. I know that English subtitles tend to skew the story just slightly. They don't really like nail these actual pivotal moments. This feels kind of like an opera to me. Like I would love to go see this story told in a different lens through a different culture and see how it resonates through that. So I'm kind of looking forward to this movie. This is another movie I might go see in theaters.
That's interesting. I only saw this because you added it, I guess, like last minute. But I mean, everything you just said, I'm like, okay, yeah, I want to try it. So I needed to watch the trailer, but then, yeah, hopefully it'll get like a domestic release.
Watch the trailer and read the subtitles, but that was the first thing I thought was, okay, they're changing the lines a little bit, but how much of that is they're changing the lines to fit within the culture, the language, and how much of it is like the subtitle is just trying to kind of give you the vague impression of what they're saying. So you know what I mean? You know the story of Forrest Gump. You're gonna recognize the scenes straight away. And it looks like a really wonderful retelling of that story, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, it keeps the spirit of Forrest Gump. You know, even the performer does a really good job of kind of carrying the spirit of it. It's exciting. I do want to say the quote that was replaced for "Life is like a box of chocolate. You never know what you're going to get." In this one, it's my mama used to say, "Life is just like a Golgappa. Your tummy might feel full, but your heart always craves more." I'm actually super excited to see how that fits into the story in its own unique way, but everything that's being told it's very cool. And Miguel, I know you are running out of battery and their house is out of power, so you can't plug in. But you know, any last things you want to say before we lose you?
For the What We're Into section, I've been watching 3 things lately. I've been watching Mad Men season 2. I've been watching Stranger Things season 1 and The Boys season 3. Luis, you and I talked about this at one point. I was kind of bored with Mad Men season 1. I didn't think I was going to get into it. I was so wrong. Mad Men has become like one of these shows that I'm looking forward to watching every night. Season 2 has only gotten better. I'm almost done with season 2, but they definitely have taken the character study thing, but have elevated it a little bit so that you feel like things are happening a little bit more frequently throughout the series. I am just absolutely enthralled by all of these characters. The ones I hate, the ones I love, they're all being played beautifully. For my first time seeing Mad Men, I'm having a good time. We are, because Stranger Things season 4 just came out, we are starting over from the beginning and trying to like catch up with the current culture of it. So I'm having a kick-ass time watching Stranger Things season 1. It is super scary. I get caught up every now and then. I'm like, you know what I mean? It's but these characters are also doing incredibly silly, stupid things. Like at one point, I literally shouted at the screen, like, what are you doing when Nancy like crawls through the upside down hole in the tree, like head first?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She was just like, well, what's in here? And I was like, you stupid bitch. That's the upside down. Like, you're gonna die. Like, clearly this is not good for you. But I'm excited to see where they go in season 2, 3, and beyond, because clearly they pick up a budget and a following, and I can't wait to see it. Briefly, I do want to mention that I read a thing today that said that they're going back and re-editing certain scenes in Stranger Things season 2 for continuity errors or like plot hole errors. They're like retroactively editing some things. Yeah, I don't know what the plot hole is, but apparently there's like some sort of like a fan discussed plot hole of season 2, and they're like going back and re-editing those scenes to make it fit with the flow of the story, which was a little bit of a talk on the internet this morning as I was getting on my phone. I don't have a big problem with it, simply just because I haven't seen season 2 yet, so I don't know how that's actually going to play out, and they didn't make it clear what the plot point was, so I have no idea what it is, but that's coming apparently. And finally, I'm almost done with The Boys season 3. I just watched the episode where she killed people with dildos, and I also watched the Hero-gasm where they're all fucking for like 30 minutes of that episode. I have to say, at the core of this show, I'm super interested and intrigued by how they're telling a modern day story in this superhero lens, the way they call out, you know what I mean, these like MAGA fanatics and like the culture or the current state of the world right now. I will say the fact that it's so over the top, every episode does have me rolling my eyes just a little bit. I mean, when she killed him with a dildo, it was like, at that point, it was like, of course she's killing him with a dildo. Like, it's like, I understand that's the way they're telling the story. Every now and then it's like, okay, you know, what silly gory thing are we going to see? But these characters are super interesting. And the way that they, like I said, are telling or showcasing the current events of our current world in this world of superheroes is absolutely fascinating. I would recommend it to everyone. So that's
what are your thoughts on Homelander?
Oh man, I have 1% left, so I'll just really quickly tell you, Homelander fucking sucks. The guy playing him, Anthony Starr, is really good.
Yeah.
The episode I just watched was Hero-gasm, where Soldier Boy and Butcher and Huey, all three, team up against Homelander, and what an absolute like dog of a moment. That was so good. But you guys, I'm so sorry. My phone is about to die, so I have to get out of here. I'll chat with you guys later.
We'll continue on without you, my friend.
Good luck. Yep. Good luck.
Okay.
We love you. Bye.
All right, hang up. All right, so we're going to continue on what we're into. We're going to roll this right into Ed. Ed, you are watching Better Call Saul, which is something I took a break on just because...
Yeah.
You know, this is a show I watched with Sarah, and she was like, oh, this is so depressing, I can't keep watching it. But now I'm like, okay, I got to go watch this on my own, because I loved Breaking Bad. I loved Better Call Saul, and I can't believe I'm so behind. Like, I used to be on top of it all the time, and I want to hear you talk about Better Call Saul.
Okay, well, so sorry to disappoint. I don't have a whole lot to say on it, only because kind of like you, I started watching it a couple of years ago, I guess when it first started, or at least first came onto Netflix. I watched all of season 1, and I started season 2, and then I just dropped off of it. Not for any particular reason, like I enjoyed season 1. But, you know, obviously in the subsequent years since then, it's become a very popular show. And I know a lot of people compare it to Breaking Bad. I mean, how could you not? And, people say it's like up on the same level as it. And I know it's coming to an end, so and incidentally, some of my co-workers have been watching it too. So I was just like, all right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get back into it. So really all I'm doing right now is rewatching season 1, which, again, I'm enjoying. I love the characters and some of the misadventures that they go on are fun. Touching on, you know, like Mike, obviously with Jimmy. So I'm excited to see where the show goes, and I will be keeping up with it throughout, you know, my viewing of it, and I'll keep you guys posted. But it's been, you know, it's fucking Leo season, man. It's been a busy week for me. I've had 2 of my parents' birthdays. 2 of my parents, as if I have more. Both of my parents' birthdays. And then I've got Sarah's coming up, and then immediately after that is Miguel's birthday. And all of that means that I got to start watching that show, and I got to see Nope, which, of course, Miguel, who obviously has not watched it yet, so we're going to review it later, but and we'll talk more about that. But Luis, what are you into?
Yeah, I was busy in Comic-Con this past week, so I was kind of wrapped up in that. That was my first time actually in Comic-Con. And I was just pretty much overwhelmed with a lot of the stuff, with all the art. There's like an artist alley. Thank you. There's this artist alley with a bunch of, comic drawers and groups. So like they had a big Lego stand that had a huge Bowser Lego thing. Was like, I don't even know how tall it was. It was super tall in order to celebrate their new Bowser Lego. I think that was the best like stand that they had compared to a lot of people that were there. They had the Star Wars section where they had all the outfits from Mandalorian to Book of Boba Fett to Obi-Wan. All that stuff was very cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, just getting to see those costumes in person must have been awesome.
Yeah, it was super cool, super fun. But then I also saw Nope, and I think that's something like we can talk about next week. I saw it on IMAX.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, and we can talk about it next week too. It's the same director, same DP of Christopher Nolan. Not Wally Feister. He was his original DP, but his new one, Van Hoyten.
Yeah.
And so
Hoyt van Hoytema.
There you go. Thank you so much. But yeah, to keep it simple, that's kind of what I'm into. We can keep talking about Comic-Con next week when Miguel is here. But I don't want this party. I want this to be a full party, full of our friends. And I think we did as much as we could. We had a lot of technical difficulties today.
Yeah.
And next week we're going to talk about Nope, and we'll of course talk about what we're into, and of course we're going to do News of the Week. But until then, we just had Miguel Sanchez. I've been Luis Gonzalez, and with me, of course, has been
Ed Bull.
Yes, and until next time, later, Gators.
Later, Gators.